Hello, welcome back to this channel. My name is Belin. I talk about financial literacy, I talk about financial awareness, treasury bonds, money market funds, circles, and everything that pertains to financial awareness. Now, I did a video on treasury bonds and I've been doing videos on treasury bonds, but one question I keep getting over and over again is the bid amounts, especially when I talk about competitive bidding or non-competitive bidding. Exactly when do you qualify for a competitive bid? Now in this video I would like us to be it's going to be a short and sweet video. I would like us to be discussing about competitive bidding. What is competitive bidding? Who can bid competitively, and how can you bid competitively? Are there any risk to bidding competitively? Now, a competitive bid, remember treasury bonds, whenever there's a prospectus, it's an auction. An auction is where everybody quotes, the buyers quote their prices. If you've ever attended a property auction, the bidders, the people who want to buy that property, quote their prices. All right? And normally that property is sold to the highest bidder for as long as that highest bidder has met a threshold. Now, this threshold is there's normally a benchmark, a base for the price below which that property will not be auctioned or it will not be sold. If the auctioneer or if the seller finds a bidder who is just below that threshold, then that will be a failed auction. So those bids in that auction will be declined. With the same breath, whenever a bond is being auctioned, whenever a bond is on auction, what happens is that the people who bid 2 million and above are allowed to do competitive bidding. Competitive bidding means that everybody quotes their price. Everybody quote their price. The price here being the coupon rate that you expect CBK to pay you on your investment. Now, if you're investing 2 million and above, that is specifically the Kenyan Treasury bonds. If you're investing 2 million and above, you are allowed to put a competitive bid. You are allowed to tell CBK at what rate you expect CBK to pay your coupons. Okay? Now, CBK will be reviewing these competitive bids, and most institutional bidders, the banks, your circle, the MMFs, and even individuals who put in a lot of money, even your churches invest in bonds as well. Even the schools, some of these schools invest in bonds. So most of the institutional bidders, ideally maybe, I think all of them, bid competitively, including your pension fund, bid competitively. They dictate to CBK. They tell CBK, they quote a price that they expect CBK to pay them. Now, it's the prerogative of CBK. It's up to CBK, fully up to CBK, to either accept these bids or decline the bids. For instance, the treasury bill right now is at 16.9%. If a paper was to be auctioned now, Bank A could quote a bid of 20%. Bank B could request for 18%. And your MMF could request for 17%. Another school could request for 21%. And a pension fund, your pension fund, which could, let's say, is an over ambitious, could request for 23%, when the treasury bill is at 16%. And then maybe your circle could request for 15%. So when those bids have been put like that, the bidder who requested for 25% is an outlier. That is a high interest that CBK might not be willing to pay. So that bid can be declined. In fact, if you look at the results for past auctions, you'll find that some bids have been declined. So they have accepted bid and declined bids. These declined bids are normally the competitive bids for the investors who put a high interest than CBK was willing to pay. Now, what CBK does, the competitive bids that CBK will accept, they will take those bids and find their average. You know how to find an average. CBK will find their average, and then the average of these competitive bids is what now will be paid to you, the non-competitive investor or the non-competitive bidder. So that is it about competitive bidding. Competitive bidding and non-competitive bidding. Non-competitive bids are bids which are 2 million and below. Now, if you are investing in excess of 2 million, you can also put a non-competitive bid. If you are investing 3 million, you can also bid non-competitively. However, remember, if you are investing more than 2 million, if you are investing that 3 million, you are allowed to bid competitively. But if you don't want to bid competitively, you can also bid non-competitively. But if you are only investing 2 million, you are not allowed to bid competitively. In fact, the app will not allow you. It's locked. The app will not allow you to bid, to put a non-competitive bid. It must be 2 million and above. Okay. Now, in as much as you're investing 3 million or 5 million and you want to bid competitively, you need to be fully informed of the prevailing market rates, so that you don't bid a low amount and you end up losing. Do you know if you bid 15%, that is the amount CBK will be paying you, even though the average will be 20 or will be 18. Okay? So when you're bidding non-competitively, if you're not fully informed of the prevailing market rates, you put yourself at risk, especially if you're not informed, you're not very well informed in these things. You will be at risk of underbidding, that is quoting a very low amount, or overbidding. Overbidding will now be quoting a very high amount until CBK ends up declining your bid. Okay? So, a summary of that, competitive bids are the bids that you quote the coupon rate that you expect CBK to pay you. If you want to bid competitively, you'll have to be investing 2 million and above. The risk of competitive bidding is that you risk underbidding, so you end up having low coupons, or you also risk overbidding, so your bid ends up getting declined. However, if you know where the market rates are and you bid just slightly above those market rates, within the acceptable range, you could end up earning more than what you would have been earning had you bid non-competitively. All right? So that is it today. I told you today's session was going to be very short. I just needed to clarify competitive bids and non-competitive bids. If you have any questions, please leave me in the comment section. I'll be happy to respond to them. Press the subscribe button and see you on the next video.